Ever watch those coding tutorials where everything just works? You know the ones, the polished 20 minutes builds, no bugs, no hesitation, every variable is perfectly named, and every new feature just clicks into place like a puzzle piece. But let's be real for a second. That's just not how development actually works. Especially when you're first getting started, what does real coding looks like? Just super messy. You try something out, it breaks. So you hit Google, you figure it out, you fix it, and then you probably refactor it more than 2 times before you are happy. That's exactly why I'm doing something different in this video. I'm going to build a ready clone from scratch using a full modern stack. I'm bringing you along for the entire journey. You'll see me rust, stumble into bugs, and fix them on the spot, just like you will do when you're building your own projects. You don't just get the shiny final answer, you'll see the whole messy, wonderful process. Don't worry, we'll explain everything as we go, but here's a quick peek at the toolkit we'll be relying. VS Code is the editor we'll be living in. Its powerful features like IntelliSense, the integrated terminal, and a rich extension ecosystem will really help us write code efficiently and debugging stuff right when it happens. Node.js is the magic that powers our backend with the JavaScript. It allows us to build the super fast, scalable applications. And the best part is we can use the same language across our whole stack, which just makes everything smooth. Next.js 15 is essentially the backbone of our application. It let us build both front-end and back-end with one framework. With its app router and server actions, we are writing code where it runs, giving us tons of control. Tailwind CSS. Forget wrestling with the massive style sheets or crazy naming conventions. Tailwind gives us super fast, utility-first styling that let us move quickly and keep everything looking consistent. Instead of spending hours of building accessible components from scratch, we're grabbing this elegant open source called the Shadcn, which is built on top of Redux UI and Tailwind. It's fast, accessible, and totally customizable. We'll use hero icons for those clean, minimalist icons that just look perfectly with our Tailwind-driven. We'll be using Postgres as a relational database to store our data, such as users, communities, posts, comments, and more. Prisma is our ORM, Object Relational Mapping. Think of it as the super smart translator between our code base and database. It gives us auto-generated types, smooth queries, and makes database migration super easy. When we are talking to the database safely and quickly using TypeScript, authentication can be a huge headache. So we are letting Clerk handles all the login, sign-up, sessions, and user profiles with their ready-to-go components. For handling all our images the smart way, we'll use Cloudinary to upload, store, transform, and serve media that's perfectly optimized. This is going to give you a real taste of what coding looks like in the wild. Not just a happy past, you'll truly see how to actually think through a feature from start to finish, what to do when things break, because you will, and how to use the tools you've probably heard about in a practical project. Whether you're completely brand new or just starting to feel comfortable with the full stack development, you're going to pick up so much just by watching the whole process unfold. No heavy editing, no shortcuts, just the real building, real problems, and real solutions. So let's build this thing together. Alright, now let's go ahead and set up our project. Assuming that you already have installed Visual Studio Code. If you haven't, just click download for your operating system. In my case, I'm using Mac, so it's asking me to download for Mac OS. If you're a Windows user, then you probably see Windows. Alternatively, you can click download button at the top right and then choose your operating system to download. Once you installed, you probably see this screen right here. Not exactly the same, but it's going to look most likely like this. And then you also need to install Node.js in order to use JavaScript. To do that, you need to click install Node.js. We highly recommend to download LTS version, which is long-term support. You can choose operating system and then using NVM. NVM is Node version manager, so that you can switch Node version to different versions back and forth. So I highly recommend that. If you're a beginner, NPM is totally good. In my case, I'm using Warp, but default terminal is also good. If you just search terminal, then you just copy the whole thing and then paste it to the terminal. Once you have done it, so you can do Node version, and you're gonna see the version of the node. If you see this, you are ready to go. Next thing you need to do is setting up your local repository where you want to write code, right? In my case, I've created a directory called Reddit. You can name it to anything. If you're not sure how to do that, from the home directory, you're gonna go to the directory where you want to install your Next.js app. In my case, dev directory, mkdir to make directory. In my case, I created Reddit. If you have done it, go into that directory and then just type code dot to open up a VS Code. Then you're gonna see like this. If it doesn't work, then you need to set up on your VS Code. It doesn't matter where you open it. Once you open up, press Ctrl-Shift-P for the Windows users, or Mac users, Command-Shift-P, and then type code. Then you can find install code command in path, so you can click it. Once you click it, then it's gonna say setup, right? Then you should be able to use this command. Okay, so once you do that, then it's gonna open up VS Code like this. Awesome. Now it's time to set up the Next.js. Here, go to the documentation, copy the command right here, just to click it and paste right here. You can hit enter, then it's going to ask you a couple of questions. In my case, I want to install in my current directory. So instead of giving the name, I'm going to press dot. What it means, I'm asking Next.js CLI to set up the project at the current directory, which is Reddit directory. Okay, hit enter. I'll go with the TypeScript and ESLint yes. Tailwind CSS for sure. Source directory, I don't need it, so I'm gonna say no. App router is a strong yes. And TurboPack, yes, for the better dev experience. And then import the alias, I am okay with the default one, which is this guy. So I'm gonna say no. Then it's gonna install all the packages that you need to run the Next.js app. If you go to the VS Code, then you probably see a lot of files and folders generated, right? In the root directory, most of them are all configuration files. At the moment, you don't need to touch any of these. App directory is something that we are going to work a lot. Let's go back. It looks like everything is installed. We have 340 packages, edit, and then audit is 341. Wow, a lot of packages, right? Success created Reddit at this directory. Awesome. Then you can check the package.json file here. It's gonna have the commands that you can use. In order to run the development mode, you can use this script. How you can use it is npm run that hit enter. That it's gonna run the next act, and then it provides the URL that you can use on your browser. Let's try. You can use control and click this link, or command this link depending on the operating system that you're using. Alternatively, you can just copy and paste over your browser. Then you're gonna see the next app that you're running right here. Awesome. definitely this is not the one that you're going to create, right? Our app is more like looking like this, not this, right? So what I'm going to do is removing these. To do that, I'm going to go to Codebase and go to app directory, and then we have layout and page files. Page file is the one that renders page contents, right? The what you see here is on this file has an image, and then order the list and some div tag, including anchor tag, right? Deploy now. You probably find deploy now here, right? We don't need any of those, so I'm going to delete everything in this file, and then I'm gonna have one div tag with the text home page. I'm gonna change the function name to home page as well. Yeah, and then hit save. Then you probably see your page got updated. Take a look. Home page, right? Looking awesome. And then in the layout file, which has the code that has UI that shares in many different pages. Here, there are a couple of things that I want to change. I don't want to use any fonts that are provided by Google Fonts. I'll be using just default one, just to minimize the loading the font family. So I'll be just deleting them all. Remove the import and delete class names because we already deleted it, right? And then change it to double quotation since I'm not using template at all. And then another thing is I want to change this relative paths to absolute paths. At means root the directory of this project and slash folder. And then I want to import from global CSS file, which is here inside of the app directory. So my paths will be looking like that. Awesome. It's much simpler now. And then Next.js is SEO friendly. They have some metadata. Metadata is data about the data. In this case, data about our web application. As an example here, the title is one of the data is about our web application. This shows right here. You can find it in the header tag over the DOM. Right click inspect option. Then it's going to open up the dev tool. Expand header tag. Then you probably find title tag somewhere here. If you cannot find it, you can just simply Control F for Windows or Command F for Mac user to search. You can check title here. Then it gets highlighted, right? Create next app is something that shows on the tab, right? That's the data that we want to change here. To match Reddit, I'm gonna do exactly the same, right? Reddit has title of the page, which is Reddit-Reddit search. Depending on what page you are, this title changes, right? In the home page, Reddit, the heart of the internet, right? So we can mimic it exactly the same. Let's open up the inspector tool. Alternatively, you can press F12 for Windows. For Mac user, you need to press function plus F12. Let's search. I'm using Mac, so I'm gonna do Command F, title, find it, right? So the heart of the internet here. Double click it, highlight them, and then paste it to your code base. Then if you go to your browser tab, then you can find my title has changed. Let's find it. Title, Reddit, the heart of the internet, right? But it has changed. Awesome. Description is kind of similar. Description is showing up when user searches Reddit site. Yes, over here. When user uses search engine like Google, then this description showing up right underneath of the page. Reddit is where millions of people gather for conversations about things they care about. Let's find it, right? So if you search description, take a look. Reddit is where millions of people gather for conversations about the things they care about, right? So this thing is very important to let your search engine know what your website is about. So I'll copy and then paste to code base. Yeah, looking good. So then you probably see my description matches the Reddit website, right? Looking awesome. So now I think this file is looking good to me. To clean up a little bit more, I want to check public folder. So these SVG files were for the demo purposes, right? I don't need any of these, so I'm gonna just delete them, okay? If you want to keep this folder, even though you don't have files, you can create a file called kit. Then even though you don't have any files in the folder, you probably can keep the folder in the remote repository. Looking good. So then things are pretty good. One last thing that I want to set up is this favicon. Where this icon is showing up is right here on your website, right? But mine is Next.js icon, right? Which is matching here. So in order to do that, you probably need to find the SVG file to create file. The way you can do is just, you can either get it from the DOM. Alternatively, you can download Reddit logo and then see if you can download the somewhere. Reddit Inc. brand page right here. Let me just click it. Look at that. There might be download section, I'm not sure. Let me quickly search. Download. No. Logo S here. Yeah, icons are like that, right? Probably you can copy paste it. Let's just check the DOM quickly. I believe this one is just whole image probably. Div tag with the something. Come on. Yeah, it's an whole image. Yeah, so you cannot technically get it. Everything is dbox. Oh, Reddit icon. I can download it here. So maybe I can get this one. Yeah, here we can download. Awesome. Let's download. I probably download SVG file and then download. Once I download, I can open up my folder and then get it. I'll be moving it to my code base here in the public probably. Let's put it. Oh, nice. I got the SVG. What it means, I don't need this keep file. I can just Control C, Control V, or Command C, Command D to copy and then change the name to favicon.icon. And then I'll be moving this guy to here and delete them. Sorry, icon, my bad. Yeah, so looking good. Then take a look what's gonna happen, okay? So in your website, oh, it doesn't know. Let's try to go with the image file to try to download web file and then see if it's gonna work, okay? So download and then move the file to here. Yeah, so pretty much they're the same thing, but now I'm gonna change this name to favicon.icon. Let me try this way, okay? Delete this existing one and then move it to app directory. Yeah, I can see the favicon. Now it should work. Look, oh, nice. Now I can see my favicon looking good. Awesome. And then we can use our SVG to render this guy, right? Later. Great. Awesome. So Next.js app is set up properly. I'm pretty happy with this. So I'm gonna make a commit. Let's go to our terminal here. If you press Command D, I can split the screen to have another terminal at the same directory here. So what I would do is making a quick commit. So git add, git commit, setup, next. Yeah, good. So next thing is I want to, with the one that I have set up, I'm gonna just close the tab here. Next.js is done, but I'm gonna leave this one open because I might have to jump into the documentation. And then Tailwind already came with the Next.js, but there are a couple of things that you needed to do, right? So if you just go to installation, this part is already done when you're installing the Next.js. It's automatically done, so you don't need to touch anything. But editor setup is something that I highly recommend you to do so that it's going to be easier. So if you go to your extension, you can install Tailwind CSS IntelliSense here. This guy, I want you to install on your VS Code. So go to here, extension tab, right? And then search Tailwind CSS. Then you'll probably find this extension. In my case, I already have installed, so it shows disable button. But if you haven't, you probably see install button that you can click. Yeah, if you have done it, you're ready to move to the next one. The next step is configuring a couple of things. If you click on GitHub here, you need to set up a couple of things, okay? So you can read the documentation when you get a chance. So what I've done reading through this documentation is configuring my VS Code. You can click Ctrl+Shift+P for Windows. For Mac users, Shift+Command+P and then type open user settings. You must choose JSON one. Documentation is asking you to add those three. I can just put this guy into description below. If you're interested in, you can copy paste. I highly recommend you to go through the documentation rather than copy pasting, because anyway, we need to learn things reading through the documentation over time. Right. There's one more thing, but I decided not to set up. This one is to sort your class names to make your code base more consistent. But where I'm writing, I don't want my class name gets resorted. You can do that, but I'm not going to. I don't want to confuse people when I'm writing. Tailwind is good, so I can move to the next one. The next one is the Shadcn here. Shadcn is the tool that help you to build the component library. They provide a lot of components, like it shows how to use it very, very clearly. This kind of UI is already developed by Shadcn, and that they are providing free. Calendar to build from scratch, it takes really, really long time. I'm not gonna do that in this video. Feel free to browse around. Many people love Shadcn. I believe you already know about this tool. If not, feel free to come to the documentation and check. So go to installation, Next.js, and then copy this command, npx Shadcn add latest init. This one is to initialize Shadcn. So go to your terminal, paste it, hit enter. Then it's gonna ask you questions, what base color you want to use. In this case, it doesn't really matter because we're gonna change it anyway. Choose neutral, initialize JSON is done. Then what I will do next will be installing all the components that are provided by Shadcn. Instead of init, add command this time. Then it's gonna ask what component do you want to add to your code base. I'm gonna press A to select all the components, and then I'm going to find chart. Hit space to deselect chart, because chart has some issue somehow. So I don't want to add this guy. Once we are done, I'm gonna hit enter to install. Then you're probably gonna see what change are made on your code base here. First of all, it changed the globals.css, configuring your class names in the theme directive inline, and then add a lot of variables, right? For the light mode, you can have these variables. In the dark mode, you can have those directives, and those classes are applied to everything and body tag. For now, we don't need to know too much, but we're gonna deal with that when we need it to. And then in the components folder, we have a UI directory with all the components that Shadcn is providing. Awesome. It also installed hooks called use is mobile. This hook is just has a stateful logic because it manages the state, right? This one is to find it out if the viewport is for mobile size or not, right? And then in the lib folder, we have a utils file that includes a cn function that merges your Tailwind class names, right? So we'll be using quite a bit. You're gonna get used to it pretty quick, in my opinion. And some configuration files and package.json, because we installed a lot of components, right? Yeah, so these are the things added to our code base for free, right? Just for the demo, you can just try to use those components. As an example, I can try to use avatar. If you're not sure how to use this guy, don't worry. You can easily find the information over the documentation. You can just simply go to avatar, right? And then find the example. right? Here, you can import from component UI avatar and then paste this, right? Let's try it. I'm gonna copy this and then go to my code base. In the page.tsx, import first, and then copy this JSX, JavaScript extension markup language. Yeah, you can copy it, go to your code base, and then paste here. Save it, go to your page, then you'll probably see avatar here. Oh, weird. Avatar styling is not provided. Interesting. Let me just quickly check. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Avatar image. Interesting. Let me try to use a class name here. PG, maybe red. Yeah, something is off. My style is not applied. Interesting. Maybe I can restart it to see, okay? So, shut down. Interesting. This never... Oh, yeah, it's applied here, right? Well, why not this guy? Oh, this guy is working too. Let me check. Yeah, so it's working. So, I think some glitch happened just now, right? Everything is looking good, but sometimes it does weird things. So class name is not necessary. So I'm going to delete them. Yeah, so looking good. And then as a, demo, let's try to add a button as well. So button from component UI button, and then say click me. Yeah, you can see the button here. And then you can change the variant if you want to. Variant, you can check from the documentation. There are a lot of things provided, right? So maybe I can say delete me destructive. Nice. There are enough information on this documentation. We can check together over time. Here, button, there are examples, right? Primary, secondary, destructive, outline. These are all different variants, right? So links, icon button, and all that, right? With the icon, yeah, so you can see how you can do it, right? Loading with the icon, with the animation, right? Great. So then now, it looks like a Shadcn is already set up. So I'm gonna make a quick commit, okay? So here, git add, git commit, set up Shadcn. Awesome. A lot of files are added now. We can edit as we use it, but I don't want to have a hassle that adding component each time. Okay, so I hope you understand that part. Okay, so Shadcn is done. And then here are icons. We don't need to install anything. We can just copy either JSX or SVG and then use it. Pretty much we can get the code and then paste it to our code base. Postgres, I'm assuming you already have downloaded, but if not, just click download and then choose the operating system based on your needs and then get it installed. Okay, if you have it installed, then you probably can use command that is psql, right? And then you can, check your databases and all that, right? Yeah. If you're a Mac user, I highly recommend you to use Brew if you want to, but totally up to you. I'm not gonna say which one's better, as long as you can install it. If you're already familiar with the Docker, then you can download the image and then you can use it too. But in this video, I'll be just using the local Postgres, and then later when we deploy our web application, we're gonna make our database available in either in the Neon or Prisma. Yeah, I haven't decided yet what to use, but when time comes, we can talk about it. So Prisma is another thing that we want to install to communicate with the database a little bit easier, but I will deal with it when time comes. Clerk and Cloudinary, also the same thing. I will set it up when time comes. Okay, so before we finishing, I want to set up the repository, right? So in my case, what I've done is I created organization called the Bartenio, the same name as my channel. I can create the repository to share the code with you. I'm gonna say this one will be Reddit clone. Let's be explicit. I don't want to confuse people out there, right? So make sure people know that it's a clone version of it. And then I'm going to make it as public so that I can share the code with you. Other than that, we're good to go. Let's click the create repository. Awesome. When repository is created, then we can synchronize our local repository and our remote repository. So these commands are what we need. Existing repository from the command line here, right? We already have a local repository already set up, right? So we have this much code already there. And then we have a lot of Git histories, right? I mean, not a lot, but at least 3, right? So we have Git already existing in our local repository. So click copy and then paste on your terminal at the Reddit directory here. I'm gonna just hit enter to push my change to remote repository. Just refresh it, then you're gonna see your code base change is in the remote repository. You can check in the app. The one that we did the last time was setting up the Shadcn, right? So if you go to the page, then you probably see avatar and button that we created. Looking good. So then repository is set up, then we can share this one with you down the road.